The Terminator is a 1984 science fiction horror action film written and directed by James Cameron and starring Linda Hamilton, Michael Biehn, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. In the future, machines rule rampant across the world, gunning down any form of organic life. When the human resistance begins to gain the upper hand, the machines decide to change the course of the war by sending an automaton wrapped in flesh to assassinate a woman whose son will become the leader of the resistance. The Terminator is widely considered a classic movie, and for good reasons. It tells a rather simple story and manages to add some depth to it. A commentary, if you will, on the over-reliance of machinery, the state of humanity, and how fate isn't set in stone, but is instead changeable. The movie also provides a lot of exposition, filling the viewer in on the background of the war and the Terminator's purpose, but it's all done during the action, allowing the viewer to both be informed and entertained at the same time. The movie also has fantastic special effects, even with the budget it had, a mere $6 million, which is basically a shoestring budget for a movie. As for the characters, Kyle Reese and Sarah Connor's relationship progresses as the story goes on. One is an average woman who is unsure of what the future will bestow upon her, and the other is a soldier, hunted by a cobalt future, one shrouded in darkness and metal, where the only light shining over the ruins are the searchlights of the mechanical death dealers. Eventually, the two fall in love, and Sarah Connor becomes more like the mother of a leader, rather than the girl next door. As for the Terminator, he has a bulking presence, one that lets you know he's lethal and inhuman. In some aspects, he's like the killer of a slasher movie, seemingly unable to be killed. He's like the mechanical manifestation of death. Although The Terminator is a legendary movie, its sequel is regarded as far more superior, and in some aspects, it is. Terminator 2 manages to be faithful to the first movie, whilst further expanding on the universe and ideals, improving immensely upon the special effects and action, converting a character that was once seen a ruthless killer into a hero learning about the values of human life, and introducing a new kind of villain that rather than being a bulkier version of the last, is the opposite of what the last was, clunky. Despite this, the first Terminator doesn't slow down. The story continuously moves, further fertilizing the feeling of being chased, in contrast to the sequel, which tends to slow down the pacing after big action scenes, adding a sense of relief, which defeats the feeling of being chased. The Terminator also feels more serious. Even though the sequel shows the horrors of the nuclear fire before the machines rose from the ashes, the first film has a much darker tone. The streets of LA seem grimier, dirtier, like the city is already turning into a wasteland, and people seem ignorant and uncaring of others around them. Kinda reminds me of someone. The future also seems much more grimmer. In D2, you see an all-out war against the machines, but in the first Terminator, it's much more subtle, but that subtleness adds to the hopelessness for humanity. You don't see as many people above ground, further allowing us to see the machines as not only threatening, but intimidating, and the overall lack of people makes it seem like the machines are on the brink of completely eliminating the human race. Overall, The Terminator is a well put together collage of different genres. It's a science fiction movie with time travel and artificial intelligence, a romance between two people against an opposing force, an action movie with explosions, gunfights, and car chases from all directions, and even a horror movie with a seemingly unstoppable, almost Grim Reaper-like titan that is the Terminator, massacring anything that stands in its way without any pity, remorse, or fear, and even after taking gunshots and being blown up several times, and even losing its legs in the process, it will still be crawling after you until it has the chance to reach down your throat, pull your still pumping heart out, crushing it with its hand of fate.